One rubber mask made Seattle crows scream for years. Not a gun, not a trap. A human face made of rubber, worn by researchers for a few minutes while they captured and banded wild crows, then released them unharmed. Days later, when that same mask appeared again, the crows erupted. They dove, screamed, and warned every bird nearby. A different mask could walk the same path and get ignored. So the crows were not afraid of all humans. They were afraid of that face. And here is the part that makes this stranger than a memory trick. Over time, crows that had never been captured began reacting too. Young birds, birds that were not part of the original event, learned the warning from others. A face became information. A bad moment became public knowledge. We tend to think of crows as background noise, black shapes on wires, trash can raiders, a bird you shoo away without thinking. But while you are ignoring the crow may be studying you. The angle of your eyes, the shape of your face. Somewhere inside that small dark skull, a question is being asked. Safe, dangerous, or worth remembering? And that question matters because, for a crow, humans are the most unpredictable animal on Earth. A hawk is usually a threat. A cat is usually a threat. But a human can be anything. One person throws food. Another throws a rock. One fills a feeder every morning. Another destroys the nest where the bird was raising its young. If you are a crow, the category human is too broad to survive on. You need to know which human. So picture one young crow only a few months out of the nest. It has never been trapped. It has never been handled by anyone. It has no personal reason to fear the rubber face crossing the campus below. To this young bird, that face means nothing at all. Not yet. Researchers at the University of Washington tested exactly this kind of learning in a now famous series of experiments. They wore specific masks while trapping and banding crows. Later, people wearing that same dangerous mask walked through the same areas, and the birds scolded and mobbed them. But other masks on similar people in similar clothing drew nothing. Clothing, height, and general human shape were not enough. The face mattered. That alone is impressive, but the deeper story begins when the alarm spreads. Crows are intensely social. They watch each other constantly. When one crow gives an alarm call, the others look. When several mob the same person, the younger birds study the pattern. They do not need to feel the danger themselves. They can learn it secondhand. And that brings us back to our young crow on its branch. One afternoon, the adults around it explode into alarm. Wings flash, voices sharpen. Below them walks the rubber face. The young bird does not know why. But it follows the dark eyes of the adults down to that one figure, and in that instant something locks into place. That one. Watch that one. It never had to be harmed. It only had to watch who its family feared. That is the jaw drop most people miss. A crow does not have to be hurt by you to remember your face. It may only need to see how other crows react when you pass. If crow behavior like this fascinates you, consider subscribing. There is more coming, and it only gets stranger. So the question changes. Not, can crows remember faces? They can. The better question is, why would evolution make that worth keeping? Memory is not free. A brain spends energy deciding what to notice, store, or throw away. Most animals never need to recognize individual humans. A deer flees people in general. A mouse hides from movement. But crows live differently. They live in our cities, farms, rooftops, and parks. They eat from the edges of our world. They survive partly because we create food, shelter, and danger all at once. For a crow, we are not one species. We are thousands of individual risks. Treat every human as dangerous, and you starve. Treat every human as safe, and you die. The smarter strategy is to sort us one by one. This person feeds. This person ignores. This person came too close to the nest. The face is the label attached to the lesson. Inside the crow's skull, a surprisingly powerful system supports this. Crows are corvids, along with ravens and magpies, birds famous for problem-solving, planning, and tool use. Their brains are small, but bird brains pack neurons densely. They do not need a large mammal-like brain to act intelligently. And when researchers looked at how crows respond to threatening versus caring faces, they found activity in regions tied to perception, attention, and emotional association. The crow is not just seeing a face. It is attaching meaning to it. That meaning can last. Reports from the long-running Seattle work describe crows reacting to the threatening mask years after the original trapping, with no reminder in between. You may forget the bird you scared off your car one morning. The crow may not. But this is not only about fear. It also explains why some crows seem to recognize people who treat them well. Regular feeders often report that local crows behave differently around them than around strangers. Some accounts even describe crows leaving small objects near the people who feed them, though scientists are careful about calling those gifts in the human sense. The safer truth is fascinating enough. Crows learn who is useful, who is harmless, and who is risky. They read the individual, and once you understand that, another famous behavior starts to look different, the so-called crow funeral. People see crows gathering around a dead crow and assume it is mourning, almost a human ritual. There may be emotion involved. We cannot climb into a crow's mind and name the feeling. But research suggests these gatherings can also work as danger lessons. In studies pairing dead crows with masked humans, living crows mobbed and called, then later treated that person or place as risky. The dead crow was not just a body, it was a warning sign. Something happened here. Pay attention. So the gathering may not be a funeral the way we hold funerals. It may be a classroom built out of fear. And once again, the face becomes part of the lesson. This is where crow intelligence starts to feel uncomfortable. We are used to being the observers. We band the birds, we record their calls. We film them with long lenses. We assume the watching goes one way. But step outside and look at a crow on a wire. It is looking back. And in that one dark eye, if you were close enough, you might catch a tiny reflection, your own face, turned into information. To you, the city is full of strangers. To a crow, it may be full of records. It does not need your name, your job, or your story. It only needs to know what your face has meant before. That is why grudge is the wrong word. Grudge makes the crow sound petty. The real explanation is sharper. Crows remember because forgetting the wrong face is dangerous. A careless human can kill without meaning to. A kind one can become a lifeline. A crow that can tell them apart has an advantage, so the memory stays. It stays in the bird that saw you. It spreads to the birds that heard the alarm. It passes to the young ones watching from nearby branches, which is where our young crow returns. One last time. Seasons have passed. It is an adult now, perched above a street it has learned by heart. It never met the researcher. It never felt the hands or the band. But when a certain rubber face crosses below, its voice sharpens on instinct, and the alarm lifts from its throat, carried to birds that were not even hatched when any of this began. The warning has outlived the moment that created it. It has outlived the birds who first witnessed it. And in the young crow's dark eye, for a heartbeat, that same face flashes back. A memory it inherited but never earned. So the next time a crow turns its head and fixes one eye on you, remember this. It may not be seeing a person. It may be seeing a history, a face tied to food, danger, kindness, or nothing at all. If you have given it nothing to fear, it may simply let you pass. But if you have earned a place in its memory, the story may not end with you. It may lift from one wire to another, copied by young birds stored in a city that forgets almost everything except the animals watching from above. A crow does not remember your face because it is strange. It remembers because your face may be the difference between danger and survival. And somewhere above the street, long after you have forgotten the moment, a black bird may still know exactly who you are.